Yeah, as it's on screen, I'm Gary Ison, Sales Training and Product Development Manager for Toyota. And I'm here today just to have a little chat about the approach that we take in terms of decision making with MHE. But before I start, just a little bit about Toyota. Some of you may or may not know our history. And actually it started all the way back in 1918 with automated weaving looms. So at the time of the first product, nothing to do with forklifts, nothing even to do with cars. But we started with automated weaving looms, and it was the development of the looms and the systems that were put in place that led us through the progression into the vehicle industry and obviously ultimately up into forklifts as well. And the way we've got there is by working around 5 core values. So under continuous improvement, we've got something called Kaizen, which literally translated means continuous improvement, which means that we're always looking to develop and innovate our products. We're not just fixed on, this is what we do now, it's what can we do better in the future. And for any of you that have got a finance background, Kaizen is continuous improvement, Kaizen is fudging the books. So be careful how you pronounce it. Our next value is Genshi Genbutsu, so it's going to the source. Day-to-day operations, we're bound to get issues. Issues arise, expected, planned, unexpected. But the only way we get to the bottom is by truly going to the source, rather than saying, right, can you go and look at that? And he goes, can you go and look at that? And he'll go, can you go and look at that? It all gets lost in translation. So even the seniors in the business go right the way to the source of the problem. And obviously it's challenging each other to improve. Whatever we've done today can be better tomorrow. And we don't get there without having the obvious respect for the people that we work with, the people around us, but also the customers. And hopefully, that will encourage the business to work as a team to achieve the end target. But why are we here? I'm not going to go into too much detail because obviously we've covered a lot of that with the other speakers this morning. But obviously we've got Brexit, we've got the rise in e-commerce, things like the sterling weakness, living wage, that delightful pension pot that we all hope is there by the time we get to that delightful age, and other contributing factors as we've seen already this morning in terms of land, for example. But for us, when we're working with customers, it's establishing a start point. And hopefully, a lot of you might not be in this position, but invariably a lot of people we go to, the ultimate target is to reduce operating costs because in this day and age, overheads are continually increasing with the likes of labour, transport, the cost to get things in, and obviously improving the operational efficiency to try and reduce the waste within the business. Now, when we talk to customers, it's a lot about the route to take, and we've defined this in 3 real areas, so to speak. So start off with obviously the equipment's at the forefront of the mind. Are we using the right product for the job? Or do we need to maybe progress up to something, starting with the lowly hand pallet truck into the powered world? Not only in terms of the equipment that we're using, but it's how we manage that piece of equipment. So the use of telematics is becoming big now in the industry. Being able to actively monitor the performance of the trucks, the utilisation, even the driver utilisation, for example, to make sure we're getting the most out of the equipment. And the final point is also the methods that we're using. So, as alluded to earlier, conventional order picking is possibly on the decline as more and more automation is coming involved in the industry, which leads us to, for example, our budget automation solution, which you'll see the demonstration of a bit later on, and also into full-blown automation in terms of pallet movers and even reach trucks, for example. Obviously, VNA also on the horizon and already available with some manufacturers. But if we start off with the humble hand pallet truck, not many people know that BT, roller truck as it was, actually invented this product with the Swedish Railways. And thankfully we've done well, we've progressed and developed, that's a good word, to get the solution to where it is now in terms of a quality product. Yes, it's not the cheapest on the market, but it serves its purpose well and is what's given us 65% of the market in terms of hand pallet trucks. Now the next little video clip, there's a moral to the story. Yes, it's product orientated, but in the UK we have a nasty culture of going out, getting 3 quotes and going with the cheapest. And this doesn't always give us the best end result. So maybe spending that little bit more up front now could actually protect your investment further in the future. But obviously only you can make that decision based on what people like myself are telling you. But have a look at the next clip and just think about the story behind it and the morals behind it, because, as I say, as a culture, this doesn't always apply to us.
Decisions. The world is full of choices, and sometimes it comes down to one or the other. Take, for example, buying a pallet truck. It could be one or the other. One costs less than the other, so you think that's an easy decision. But you can't make a decision unless you have all the facts. So let's look at one cost, for example. Cheaper doesn't always mean money saved. Sometimes it could cost you more for paying less. And you need to look at the total life cost of the truck to understand why. You've paid less for the truck, and you need to use it every day, year after year. Still seems like a great decision, but who knows what's around the corner? Nearing 18 months, your cheaper truck is not looking such a good investment. Some things aren't built to last, but the BT truck is still going strong. One day, you think your cheaper truck fails. A replacement is required. But things could have been so much simpler. For example, a small service cost each year extends the life of the BT truck to at least 7 years, providing both peace of mind that your truck won't cause disruption when you need it most, as well as providing legislation compliance. So you're a truck down and the cost is rising, but still you pay less. But a truck failing within 18 months is bad news. You get what you pay for. Your truck will fail again. 3 years in, 2 trucks down, and time for another replacement. Suddenly, the future doesn't look so bright for your cheaper truck. You've paid more for paying less. Plus, when a truck fails, the work stops. Disruption to your operations, more cost to you, all down to choosing the wrong hand carrying truck. So you could have had 7 durable years with a BT truck, including small service costs. But your cheaper truck is now just scrap metal and impacting negatively on the environment. Also, you have the option of a major service for your BT truck. This can have another 5 years to its lifetime, allowing extended high-quality utilization and further CO2 reduction. It's easy to see how choosing the wrong hand pallet truck can cost more in the long run. With disruption costs, disposal costs, administration costs, and environmental and compliance headaches, choosing cheaper isn't choosing smart. Decisions. Now you know the facts, it's easy to make up your mind. Why pay less when you can save more? Choose smart. Keep a BT hand truck, as the wrong decision really can cost you the earth.
Now, obviously, I did say that was a little bit product orientated. Unfortunately, it's one of the better videos I've got to work with at the moment. But there is the moral to the story there. It's not just hand pallet trucks that can apply to. It can apply to all sorts of different things that we buy in as part of our everyday business. What a lot of people don't do is spend that extra little bit of time to do the background work. They just jump at the cheapest price. And in some cases, pay the downfall later on down the line. But going back to the humble hand pallet truck, some of the influencing factors in terms of what we're going to do when it's time to change equipment may be things like manual handling. So even just the hand pallet truck could be upgraded to something along the lines of a product with a start assist. And again, there's plenty of other trucks out on the market alongside ours that do a similar sort of job. And that particular product I'll also demonstrate to you later on this afternoon. But obviously productivity is another key thing. At the end of the day, a hand pallet truck is pulled around by a person. So in terms of increasing productivity, the natural progression would be to go to some form of powered equipment further down the line. And obviously there is other costs, other efficiencies, repetitiveness and living wage to consider as part of making that right decision. A lot of the work we do as well with customers is we try and get our guys to look at selling a solution, not just a product. Because at the end of the day, all forklift manufacturers are there to sell a product, but it's making sure it's the right one for the customer and the right one for the job. And part of a lot of the work we do is looking at operational efficiency, understanding material flow for a customer. Yes, a customer needs to move a product from one end of the warehouse to the other, And for years he's maybe using 20 trucks to do it, but does he actually need 20 trucks? Bearing in mind the advances in truck technology these days with AC control, energy recovery, and all the different energy sources and technology that's on the horizon. And obviously, it sounds simple, 80-20, Pareto, ABC. Some people don't use it. We come across customers that know nothing about actually efficiently storing their product in the racking, product aside. They just don't necessarily understand how to orientate their equipment or their products so that the faster moving goods are easier to access. And obviously we want to work with them as well to make sure that we offer them the best solution in terms of organising their warehouse as well as the right equipment to do the job. I did mention technology. In this day and age, most products on the market use lead acid, and lithium ion is now up and coming. There is one manufacturer, BYD, that solely offer lithium. At the moment, is it a cost-effective solution? Lithium's 3 to 4 times the cost of a lead acid, but in the right application, it has its advantages in terms of the energy saving, the fact that you don't need all the charging infrastructure, the ventilation, and everything else that goes with that. So it's slowly encroaching on the market as well. As soon as it becomes more cost viable, then not only we're going to see more people go into lithium as a standard source in a standard truck, but we may also see truck design change to actually encompass the battery rather than the battery being just something that makes up the counterweight. Fuel cell, we mentioned earlier about the infrastructure and the power generation that's required. The grid's got a limit. People are looking at generating their own sources, of which hydrogen for the fuel cell solutions is an up-and-coming solution, which ironically also uses a lithium battery. So again, it's the two technologies combined. This is still a few years away. We haven't got the infrastructure yet in the UK, but there are certain providers out there that can supply generation solutions. And certainly in France, we have a couple of customers that are running with us quite happily. Air Liquide, I think, are one of the suppliers over there. And finally, obviously, Toyota are known for hybrid. We've had it in cars for a long time. Unfortunately, with trucks, it's a slightly different story in terms of a car is built to carry 4, 5, 6 people, so you've got plenty of room to store the components required to run a hybrid vehicle. On a forklift, you've got an engine and a counterweight and a mast. Not really much room to keep a dirty grey electric motor or a dirty grey lithium alongside the power plant. But it's slowly developing and becoming more viable as a solution. Now the next part, telematics. And I'm just going to give you a quick intro into our Ison solution, which is our telematics online system. And again, as I say, there's lots of different systems out on the market that offer different benefits. A lot of the key manufacturers now have their own systems that are tied to their trucks with varying features that all differ from each other slightly. But this is a basic overview of what telematics can potentially offer in terms of how you operate your current fleet, not necessarily the fleet you may have in the future. Okay, so that's a brief overview of telematics, obviously specifically a system that we can offer. But this is helping you at the end of the day to get the most out of your current equipment. Tie this in with the fleet analysis, looking at the warehouse and the volume movements and the workflow. You can obviously try and optimise your current situation as much as possible. And obviously with optimising the equipment can quite often come prolonging the life of that equipment, certainly as you saw towards the end there with the battery solution. A lot of people kill lead acid batteries because of ineffective management, opportunity charging for example. So getting the most out of the kit in that respect can prolong the product, prolong the life, and with what's looming in the future, maybe even just tie you over a bit longer until we've got a better idea of what's going on in the industry and the environment that we're in today. Now this eyesight system can give you a lot of key features as you can see, and a lot of these have been covered in the video. But one thing I want to touch on just briefly is things like shock detection. A lot of people don't consider the damage that they have as a business and operation. I bet probably some people sat in the audience couldn't tell me what they do on a weekly, monthly basis in terms of product damage, because the operator comes along, oh dear, under the rack, and we're off again. So they just don't realise, they don't see it. Now, at the moment, a lot of systems on the market just give the owner an idea when the truck's had an impact. On the horizon, a couple of years' time, we can probably even tell you where in the warehouse that product has had an issue. And with the likes of the A-Safe rack-eye product, you can even monitor the structures of your racking so that you know a truck's had an incident, roughly where it is in the warehouse, and if it's caused you critical damage to your racking and infrastructure, for example. So a lot of things are starting to gel together in terms of products that are on offer within the industry and how they can be applied. For us, it's a web-based system, so it's nice and easy to access. And for people that are out and about on the go, you may not realise, but you could be sat here today with a phone going crazy in your pocket because you've got a warehouse full of operators running amok because the MD's out of business for a day. So even when you're out and about, you can still get the information and look at what your fleet's up to and what the operators are doing behind your back. The main idea really with telematics though is, as covered predominantly in the video, is to target these four areas really, in terms of cost, productivity, obviously health and safety in the environment, and the environment itself. Now this list is just a brief. There are a lot more you can go further in lines with this, but we haven't got time today to do that, and I'm conscious it's nearly lunch, which I'm getting hungry myself. Now, final little section in terms of methods. We've got our budget automation solution with us today. This truck itself has actually only been in the UK about 2 weeks, so it is very new to our market and our product portfolio, and this is its first live demonstration this afternoon, so fingers crossed it works and nobody's gone around kicking all the green markers and tape that's on the floor. But this will give you a basic overview of the potential. As you can see, the end of the video there, not stolen from Channel 4. But this gives you a flavour of what potentially automation can offer. It's going to fit certain environments. As we discussed earlier on this morning, it doesn't suit everybody. So manufacturing environments where there's repetitive tasks, even hospitals, for example, the movement of linen and waste products, it can become a viable solution. And we're not talking 90, 100,000 pound a truck, unlike some of your reach trucks. Yeah. Something like this can be 20, 25,000 pounds, which if you think about the cost of a low-level order picker, which is conventionally what this job would do, and the operator driving it 30, 35,000 pound combined, you've got a saving there. But not only that, if it deviates from the wire, it's going to stop. It's not going to drive into your racking because it didn't see the racking coming. Yeah. And not only that, there's practically no maintenance. It's a sealed unit, sealed batteries, it has a periodic health check, so there's no extensive service costs involved. But you may have repetitive activities, short process times, low process times. As you saw in the video, you can loop these together, you can have multiple units running on the same loop if the demand needs it and you need to move that product a little bit quicker. But there's a lot of potential and food for thought in terms of where even entry-level automation can lead in terms of reducing overheads and operational costs. And as I say, manufacturing, e-commerce, healthcare are certainly applications where we've had these in operation already. Now later on today, after lunch, I'm going to be doing a few product demonstrations, so I'll run through some of the trucks that we've got on stand and set the automation unit running as well, and just do a walkthrough along the lines of how that operates and how we've got it set up for you today for the purpose of the demonstration. But there is a final thing I'd like to show you, and this is a case study for a full automation project that we've done in the Netherlands for a company called Royal Aware, and they manufacture cheese, so you can appreciate the necessity of having a clean environment and obviously the impact in moving goods around, keeping everything ripening in the right order and getting things from A to B in a timely manner. So this is just a taste in terms of not only have we got a fully automated reach truck, we've got the technology of lithium, and we've got a completely clean environment to contend with. So this is a flavour of where potentially you could go. Now I won't lie, this was a multi-million-pound project, but it's an idea of where things could be if business needs it. I have turned the volume off because God bless the Dutch, they talk 10 to the dozen, and thankfully it's subtitled, so we can at least read it. The keen eyes amongst you may or may not notice that although these trucks are fully autonomous, they can still be operated manually. So we can turn the automation off if needs be, and we need to keep these moving. And that's one of the great flexible things about this product.
Staat en waar elkaar weer naartoe gaat.
Turned it down so for a couple of minutes of that guy talking, it gets irritating.
Because it just sounded a bit flat with anything.
voertuigen schoongemaakt worden. Om zo aan de hygiëneregels te voldoen, want hier is heel belangrijk in de kaas. De reden waar wij gekozen hebben voor lithium-ion batterijen is heel eenvoudig. Je spaart veel ruimte. Als je niet kiest voor lithium-ion heb je een wisselstuk nodig. Dat is veel vierkante meters en die vierkante meters zijn dan duur. Daarnaast kun je lithium-ion heel snel opladen. Je kan er echt op een mixer omheen. Dat gaat weer aan de stroom. 10 minuten later kan je weer uur op rijden. Daarnaast kan je ook een snel op de kant van vrije bij het opladen van de batterij. Nu dit project is afgerond, zijn we op een andere locatie aan het kijken en daar ook rietstuks te automatiseren. En daardoor gaan we een groot aantal weer 20 rietstuks door daar gaan automatiseren of zo die dat heel fijn is.
So that's just really a basic introduction of some of the projects and some of the full potential of automation as a combined solution. But that's it from me for today. Well, for this part anyway, shall I say. I'll be back after lunch with some live demonstrations of the equipment that we've got available to us at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that's given you a little bit of insight and a little bit of an idea where we are and where we operate in terms of the decision making behind MHE. But thank you from me. I'll see you after lunch.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Gary.